You know winter is coming when it's this dark outside. 7 in the morning. It's supposed to rain. So there's a lot of overcast. And yeah, Mr. Sun is nowhere to be found. But that is okay. And it's okay because you don't necessarily need to see me. So there's been something that's been bothering me. And it's been bothering me because I thought everybody knew this. And if everyone was, it's one thing to be self-aware of it, but it's another thing to actually apply it to your life. Which I always tell my friends and stuff, like 95% of our decisions are made by our subconscious. Our subconscious, if you don't know, is an area of the brain that soaks up everything like a sponge, whether you like it or not. So we have to be very cautious with the things that we consume, because you are what you consume. And this goes for anything. The music you listen to, the movies you watch, the things you follow on social media. I know this is nothing new. This is not a new revelation I'm bringing to you. There's many videos on the internet about this. There's many books out there about this. I'm just another voice on the internet with a mic. It's just up to you whether you want to listen or not. But I remember in 2020, I read a book that kind of mentioned this to me. I wish I remembered the name. If I remember the name, I'll put it in the description. But I read a book, and it really opened my eyes to this idea. But a lot of the stuff that we sing, a lot of the stuff that we watch on the internet has some type of influence over us that sometimes we don't even notice. And that's 95% of our brain that we can't really control because it's just so vulnerable to everything. 5% of our decisions are actual things that we choose to do. If you've ever felt like you woke up and you're just running on autopilot, that's because your subconscious is doing that. Some things out there that you can do to help rewire your brain, but I'm not here to teach you how to do that. You can do that on your own time. But I am here to talk about how your goals and stuff, how you can align yourself better with those goals based on the things you consume. If you're sitting there watching Love Island every single day for I don't even know how long an episode is, but if you're sitting there watching Love Island and you're sitting there following a bunch of people who are buying Labubus and you wonder why now you want a Labubu, it's not because you wanted one. It was just because you saw it on the internet enough times to go purchase one now. You know? But just filling our time, I'm not going to sit here and say, like, all your time needs to be productive. You need to do da-da-da-da-da. If you enjoy Love Island, that's your thing. If you actually enjoy Labubus, you know, good for you. But we do have to be mindful with the things that we are following. Even when it comes to, like, our opinions and stuff like that, a lot of them are just curated by stuff that we follow. Or if you spend less time on social media, less time on your phone, you can actually figure out what you're truly interested in. I know a few months ago, I was thinking about fashion. And I really love clothes. And this year I also went for an appointment for a color analysis to see like what season I am and stuff like that. And I was like, okay, I'm really gonna try to use everything in my closet, I'm not going to buy a bunch of new stuff. I'm going to work with what I have, play around with textures, layers, colors, all of these things. I thought my style was so unique. Like, yeah, so timeless, so classy. You know, we got outfits in white, we got outfits in black, we got monochrome, we got this. And then I remember seeing an ad from Dynamite. And it was the same type of clothes that I liked in an advertisement. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm not original, because it seems like all these fast fashion stores are doing the same thing, the same aesthetic. So that made me question, okay, clearly the stuff that I watch has an influence on what I wear. But then I also questioned if my thoughts and ideas are truly mine, or if they're just influenced by everything else around me, which is true. Everything else around me, it does influence us, right? The stuff that we watch. That's why we have to be mindful with the things that we consume. Yeah, I follow a few fashion influencers that kind of match the aesthetic that I'm going for, or stuff that I like that they're wearing, which does have influence over my wardrobe and the ideas that I have using what's in my closet. I haven't bought anything, but I do get my ideas from the stuff that I follow and the stuff that I watch. But even down to the stuff that we choose to consume, a lot of times it's not because you don't want matcha because you actually like the taste. It's because you saw it somewhere, you got curious, and then sometimes there's an affiliation with a certain type of social class that is tied to it, why you want to drink it. People who drink matcha, they're more wellness focused. You know, they don't want the crash from coffee. It's a good antioxidant. All of these things. But some people don't know that. They just saw a few people with matcha and they're like, I want to try it too. I want to go get my matcha and go for, like, after a run, go get matcha and do this, and this. It's really interesting because sometimes we think these are original ideas, but it's just because we saw it somewhere why we try it, which is why we get influenced, right? And I don't really feel like talking about socioeconomics right now, which I could. And I don't feel like talking about rewiring your brain, because first it takes awareness before I start teaching you how to do stuff and you don't even want to do it, like, you know. So I'm not going to waste my time about that. But I challenge you to really, really think about the stuff you like, the stuff you plan on doing, and why you're doing it. Are you doing it because you just saw it on the internet? Or maybe you don't even realize yet that you saw it on the internet. I challenge you to take inventory of the stuff you follow. Think about the current state of your life and your consumer choices, what you decide to buy, what you decide to eat for lunch. And really ask yourself if it's a true decision or if you were influenced by something. You know, whether it be an ad you saw or an influencer you follow or a reel as you were doom scrolling. All of these things, really ask yourself. Some people, they think it's a stretch, but there is so much books that talk about this. There's so much neurological scientific evidence that this is an actual thing. If you've ever studied neuroscience, you would know that. Or if you've ever heard anyone talk about neuroscience, it's all on the internet. You just have to do the research and be curious. But if you're not curious and you prefer the 95% of your decisions being made, not even being controlled by you, definitely leave it that way if you want it that way. If you want it to be more wellness focused and you follow a bunch of people who go to the gym, who are eating healthy and doing this, that, and the third, you'll be influenced in that way. If you're wanting to get more into beauty and skincare, if you're following people in that industry, then that aligns with your goal. So every time you open the app, it's not that bad. But then if you're following a bunch of nonsense, like, I don't know, cat playing piano, I feel like that's like early 2000s content that you would see on YouTube. But if that's all you're following and you're spending hours on the app, I don't know what to tell you. If your goal is to get out of consumer debt or build savings or budgeting or whatever, there's a bunch of finance influencers online that you can follow. I'm not saying flood your whole timeline with that stuff, but ask yourself your true goals and interests. I'm sure you've heard of the book Ikigai, which is basically taking a diagram and in each section putting a bunch of stuff that you truly like, and this helps you just find your passions and stuff like that, which I can make a separate video on that as well. But yeah, finding those passions, following things and reading books that align with those things. That way you're curating your own reality. Whereas if you just mindlessly scroll on an algorithm that is built for you to stay on the app, yeah, stuff may be entertaining. But I also feel like, just like how my phone keeps saying it's storage full and I have to delete some stuff, you're just packing your brain with a bunch of BS and your storage is gonna get full. So instead of, deleting some stuff, we're gonna just rewrite some things. But yeah, that is all I have to say. I know my storage is actually full, so I'm gonna have to clear off my phone if I would like to continue this. But thank you for listening to this TED Talk. And I will talk to you guys next time.